right. So Francis, you have so what are the what stages or ages are your kids at? Are they general? Um, you have a general age range that your kids are in?
I got two sons. One is 4, and the other is turning 7 in a few weeks. And then
Okay.
I also have a baby on the way, and my wife's about 35 weeks now, so it could come any day now.
All right. While we're on the phone, huh? Hopefully, hopefully not, huh?
Yeah.
But um, okay. So if I were to ask you what your biggest, what you would say your biggest success has been, right, as a parent. So you've been at as not so you're an entrepreneur, and obviously you're a parent too, and a dad. So if you can kind of think back to what you think, man, I really feel like I did this one thing right. Like I really feel like this is a good thing I did. What would you say your biggest success has been in that role as dad and entrepreneur?
Just being able to spend more time with them, take them to school, pick them up, um, going to the park with them, and just having the flexibility and just being able to say, okay, well, today I'm not going to do any work. I might lose some money by not doing some work, but I've sacrificed money for my kids. So yeah, I guess the thing I'm proud of is I'm able to spend time with my kids,
Hmm.
just having the flexibility just to not work if I don't feel like it.
Right, right. Okay. No, that's good. Um, so now you've been at this for a little bit, so you're not a new dad. Um, every dad that I've talked to has something that they feel like having been a dad has taught them, right? So whether it's about life or whether they've translated that lesson into business or whatever the case is there something that you can point to that you feel like since you've been a parent, it's taught you as about anything?
Hmm. Um, just to be more patient and hmm.
Have you been able to see how you've been able to kind of move that into other areas of your life? So has it caused you to think about being patient either in business or other areas like this being patient?
Yeah, just to being more patient, being more aware, being more understanding.
Right. Yeah. No. Cool. So now if I were to change the question a little bit, right, and I were to ask you, right, what do you think? And if you have to go in a different direction with this, what do you think since you've gotten started, right? What's been the biggest lesson you've learned as a parent? So in other words, you kind of feel like you've learned to do something or you've learned not to do something. I know you've learned patience, but what would you say the biggest lesson that you have learned has been?
The biggest lesson, to not work too hard. I don't think I don't think it's worth it to be like a slave to your work or to your business or to anything.
And so you've kind of learned to kind of either take time away from the business
That's right.
and take time off, or is that how you would say it?
Yeah, that's right. I mean, there's certain circumstances where okay, I'll have to work hard, right? But most of the time, my mantra is like, hey, if I'm not gonna work myself to death over money.
Hmm. Hmm. And what do you think that's done for you?
Um, it's made me less stressed out, so it's good for my health. More happy, and just living more in the moment.
Hmm. Hmm. No, that's cool. So now if I'm gonna give you either a magic wand or a time machine, and you get to go back and you get to do a do-over. If you got a do-over or you got a magic wand, you could go erase something or you could go do something again. What would you do over? What one thing would you say? You know what? I didn't do that one quite right, or I wish I would have handled that different. Since you've been a parent, what do-over would you take for yourself?
So something in my business or in my
Y-
family life?
Business or family life. So
Okay.
so let so since you've been a parent, yeah, and you got a do-over, what would you say?
Hmm. I'm gonna have to think about that. Let's see.
You get to do whatever you want. It's a time machine. It's a magic time machine.
Yeah, I can't think of any major ones. I mean, just minor ones. I probably would have done more work at outside the home because sometimes it could be stressful working in the home and you got all these distractions.
Hmm.
That's maybe one thing I would have done
Sure.
differently. Just
Yeah.
working out more outside the home. Because that's I'm doing that more often now. Just so when I'm at home, I could focus more on the family. My mind's not all over the place. Right. So that's something I'm doing more now. And yeah, maybe it would have been better if I did that more in the past.
If you've done it earlier, you're
Yeah,
saying.
that's right.
No, that's cool. And I'll tell you, I've heard that. Would that be interesting to you if I told you? I've heard that over the course of the time that I've been talking to people about this subject. So you're not the only one that feels like that. Um, so you're an entrepreneur, Francis, and obviously your kids are going to be in school. It's a little early for them. So how do you view your kids' education? What are your thoughts about the kind of things that they should be learning? Are you thinking about they have to be involved in college? Some dads don't really feel like they're really pressed about that as entrepreneurs. What are your thoughts on your kids and education?
And education. Well, as long as they learn the basic things like reading and writing, that's that's what I care about. Now, in terms of learning other things, I'm flexible. I, you know, I don't want to force any type of education on them. So in terms of college, all that, I don't, it's up to them. If they want to go to college, that's fine. If they don't, that's fine with me. So again, I'm open-minded. I'm flexible with the whole education thing. So so yeah.
So they don't. So it's not necessarily something that um, you're going to parent around. In other words, I know that in some cases, some people feel like that everything that they do is geared toward what they're going to do in order to get into college. And that's if I hear you right, you're saying that's not the way you're going to flow with your parenting.
That's right. I mean, I know a lot of people look towards the future. I mean, I try to stay more in the present. So yeah, I mean, that's right. Like you said, just go with the flow.
Right on. So now, what about work? So you're an entrepreneur. Is it your desire that your kids grow up and work for themselves? Is it your desire that they go get a job? Do you have any thoughts on that? What are your feelings about? Because I know they're young, but do you have a vision for them in terms of their work, their vocation?
Um, no, again, it's just whatever makes them happy, I'll let them do it. As long as it's not illegal. But yeah, whatever makes them happy. If they want to be uh, a janitor when they grow up, hey, that's so be it. To each his own, right? So whatever makes them happy. So I don't really have a vision of what I want them to be. They could go into business for themselves. They could have a 9 to 5 job or whatever. But whatever makes them happy, I'm fine with.
Do you think that having been an entrepreneur gives you more freedom to feel that way, or do you think you'd feel differently if you were, let's say, if you were in corporate or something, or do you think you'd feel the same way because that's just who you are?
I'd say that's just the way I am now. I mean, the way I think has changed over the years. Of course, if you asked me that question a few years ago, I might have said, yeah, I have a vision for what I want them to be in the future. But yeah, so I guess it's just me. It's not because I'm in business for myself. It's just the way I've progressed in life.
Hmm. Now, obviously, your kids are young. Do you have you taken something from that you've learned from being an entrepreneur, whether it's an internet entrepreneur or just an entrepreneur in general? And have you used that to provide, some kind of lesson to your kids? Do you talk to them about things that you learn, or even if you have to put it in their context, do you learn lessons as an entrepreneur and then use those lessons to teach your kids any?
Yeah, like marketing. When you see commercials on TV, I kind of explain the concept of advertising and how they just want you to buy certain things. I explain the mentality of it, because every time they see a commercial, they say, "Oh, I want that," and so it's just trying to get that. Hey, they're just people just want their money. um,
Right. Yeah.
and yeah, and I tell them, look, this is what I do. I work for myself, so they understand that I work on the computer to make money, and there's different ways to make money. You don't necessarily have to go somewhere, work for somebody like most people do, and work 9 to 5 or how many, or 12 hours a day, whatever. You could also make money just working 2 or 4 hours a day, right? You don't have to follow the template of working 8 to 12 hours a day. So they understand that there's just various ways to make money,
Hmm. Hmm.
to make a living.
Right. No, that's cool. So now, now you're married. Is that right, Francis?
That's right.
Right. Right. Yeah. So now, how do you, in terms of being a dad, right? How or where do you have, your wife fitting in? Would you say that, you guys kind of split the parenting? Does she do a lot of it because you're working for yourself? Do you do a lot of it because you're able to because you're at home? How do you find, or what is the balance that you have in terms of, the work with the boys?
I'd say I do a lot of the parenting. She does too, but yeah, I'm able to do. I mean, I do that because I'm able to. I'm home a lot, and I do care a lot about what my kids eat. So I'm more the healthy guy. My wife, not so much, but yeah, I'm more of the healthy guy in the family. So I try to make sure that my kids are eating healthy. So I spend a lot of time, just trying to feed them and just making sure that they're healthy.
Hmm.
So yeah, I would say, yeah, I spend a lot of time parenting my kids. I actually, yeah, that's one of the sacrifices I make. I sacrifice my business for, just so I could make sure my kids are healthy.
Right. Yeah. And do you think you'd be this way if you were not working for yourself?
Um, yeah, but I wouldn't really have that much time then to parent them if I was working at a regular job. But I
Hmm.
would still try my best to make sure they're healthy. But yeah, I wouldn't be able to parent them as much if I had a regular job.
Right. So if you were to, Francis, just take your, what I call your guiding philosophy for, how you approach the boys and kind of how you direct them, and you could put it into a sentence or two, what would you say it is? What is your operating, kind of your operating principle when you parent them?
Did you say in one sentence?
If you could put it in one or two.
Okay. Well, I could put it in 2 words: free range. like free range chicken, or like I'll let them do. I try to I try to let them do is whatever they want. Of course there's boundaries, but yeah, I'm pretty free with them. I don't really discipline them as much. But yeah, so like in 2 words, free range. But if I try to put it in a sentence, 1 or 2 sentences, um, hmm.
Well, okay. So if you say it's free range, I kind of I feel you on that.
Okay, yeah,
Um,
yeah, you could see that, right? Yeah.
but do you think that you can feel that way because you're there, right? Is that kind of a function of the fact that because I guess they've technically got limits because you're able to kind of enforce those limits because you're there. Do you
Yeah,
think, or
yeah,
okay?
yeah. I think because I'm here and I'm able to talk to them or explain to them why certain things you can't do. So a lot of times I could trust them when they're out in public, and I don't really have to yell at them to get my point across. I explain things to them. I spend a lot of time with them, so they get it, right? I don't have to teach them by disciplining them.
Right, right, yeah, because you're sort of there. No, that's good.